to put live questions to the panel, and then during the presentation, I will check from time to time Q&A session and answer them live. Okay, so we are not waiting anymore. Everybody who's joined already, thank you very much that you're on time. I'm Elena, AI researcher and co-founder of Ender Turing, and today we'll talk about code review by AI. Is it possible to make it 20 times faster, or it looks like a disaster? Very clickable title, but let's see what's under the hood. So for today, 30-minute structure, it may be a couple of minutes more because I want to do a live demo today. First of all, why we talk about AI in call center review and call review, and what AI really can help with, how it works, then live demo, very short one, not on everything, and cases. And about why we are talking today about AI call review, I want to quote Blake Morgan. She is a futurist on customer experience, and Meta, which is Facebook, called her a queen of customer experience. As you see that she states self-service is only half of the puzzle. Yeah, it still requires human beings. And there is a lot of talk about chatbots, conversational AI, but we also see that nothing will change a human being in the communication with a human being. And despite the fact that a lot of routine conversations can really be handled by chatbots or conversational AI, still the complex issues has to be handled by people. We conducted an interview, and I'm really thankful for everybody who took part prior to this event and answered our questions and gave us possibility to quote today. And we collected out of all quotes, these four for today's webinar. The rest of the quotes that we collected will be revealed in the next webinars, which we'll have every month on different topics. And I want to share here that, first of all, everybody, like 100% of our people who we talked to, said that AI is really a supportive tool. And they totally agree that AI should be implemented in call center environment to help people. And what I really liked about Antoine, that's the third quote, that AI is not to replace people, but free up some funds on some automation to invest in more people. So actually, we expect that call centers will grow in number of people, but these people will solve interesting, challenging, and tasks that can help. Let's continue. So what's AI is capable of? We selected 5, probably like for today, the main topics that AI already helps with. That's first call resolution, average handling time, self-service performance, meaning that it can help from a call center analyze conversations related to problems with self-service. So when a person couldn't make something themselves, then they call the call center, and this increases the inbound communication. Cross-sell, upsell scaling, and contact center specialist trainings. And then we will discuss in details those. But before we go to very detail, I want to just make a statement here that it all starts with the analysis of conversations. We just cannot skip this part and go directly to making first call resolution better or something without analysis. And currently, like everybody know that call centers can afford to review and analyze from 1 to 5% of all conversations, which is really not enough to make fast and to the point changes. So how it works with AI for conversation review or code review? First of all, voice to text. Every conversation is now readable and searchable when we have all the calls converted to text. If you're working only with environment of emails and chats, then just skip this step and go to the next one. The next one where AI also is applied is not only the text. So nobody will read all 100% of conversations when you have it as a dialogue, definitely. But for the analysis, there is possibility to tag, flag, trigger. So actually analyze and mark conversations with keywords, situations, topics, whatever you wish. And it can be done automatically. So actually what's on the other side, after the text, after the analysis, the AI can grade certain parts of a conversation where allowed and capable. So we are also here as AI researchers can definitely say that AI shouldn't be allowed to grade everything in the conversation. There are parts that are quite limited on how AI can understand and, let's say, analyze the conversation between two human beings. And the next thing that what we have text, it's searchable, readable. We have all these structured with tags, flags, triggers. We have pre-filled scorecard. And then it means that supervisors can spend literally 3 times less time on that. But why we here, right, 50–70% less time on conversation review? Because in the process of conversation review, there are additional processes can be added thanks to the previous steps. And then I will show it in the demo. And fast root cause discovery unlocked. So when we think about a metric or a KPI in the call center, in many cases, we have to figure out why the current number is this or that, and try to find this answer to this question from analysis of this 1 to 5% of conversations. We have to be really lucky to find it on spot and change the process based on that, or maybe we will not really have enough power with this analysis to bring it to other departments, to some people in the company to say that this process has to be changed because it influenced this or that metric in the call center. Actually, sometimes they don't care because KPIs for contact center are KPIs for contact center. They have their, and other departments have their own KPIs. But the general business is affected, and the contact center is like a front line for the whole business. Then after all of those, detailed individual performance overview also available because of detailed overall conversation analysis with AI. And specialists in contact center, whether you call them agents or bankers or just specialists, they can get personalized coaching because they have their metrics not based on just average handling time, a number of calls or tickets they closed this day, but very detailed one. In which particular conversation, in which particular topic or situation, they are not performing well enough. And this is statistically meaningful. It means that people can get personalized training without additional effort from the company side or from the supervisor side. And let's see really how it works. That's overall overview. It's not very detailed or specific use case. I just want to give you a feeling of how it would look like if you have the system already in place. So these are list of conversations, and already with the audio, I see here a dialogue that I can really read, or I can jump through the conversation and see what's exactly there. But as I already told, there is not possible for a human being to read all this conversation. So analytics comes in place. And this is a demo system. I was just putting some specific parts, but These tags are unlimited. It is possible to create it on the fly without any data engineer, analyst, or just in the interface. Any supervisor or manager can create that. For example, I want to track dissatisfaction, and I saw or I heard in my previous experience that customer can say like, that's customer hell, or you got to be kidding me. And I put some examples here. Then the system can learn from context that if something similar is in the call, then to mark it as a dissatisfaction. Or if customer says that he or she is interested, or this is interesting, then it's an interest. And so many topics are possible in tags. So let's see how it would look like for me. So for example, I just go and want to filter out all the conversations that have dissatisfied clients. So that's a client tag in the client channel. I want dissatisfaction. I just apply that, and I see that out of 500 conversations, I have 83 conversations with some dissatisfaction inside. I see here the verification is going through. Oh, this is something interesting to me. So I can click on exact phrase, listen how, now you don't hear this, but Zoom doesn't provide me to give you a voice. And sorry, do you see the system at the moment? I was notified that, yeah, we should see the demo. Let me stop sharing and start sharing again. I'm really sorry about that. Yes, share the screen again. Let me share this again. Please let me know if you see now my screen. Okay, then it doesn't work between the presentations. Sorry again. Right, I will just repeat it. So what I see, what you see at the moment here is the list of conversations. And this is a dialogue of the conversation, the complete one. And I was showing actually, so all the conversations in my demo, that's 500 something, and I see the dialogue and I see some tags. So nobody will read 100%. So I go to analytics, I go to tags, and here I created some tags for this demo, but those can be created just in the web without anything additionally. So dissatisfaction is this, interest is this, and then the system learns from the context that similar phrases are also should be tagged like that. So I go to all conversations. I want to see the calls where client was dissatisfied. I just apply the filter, and I see that 83 conversations are from the clients that were dissatisfied. I just scroll down and I see that, oh, this is the place of the dissatisfaction. I can click on the timestamp and I start hearing what's going on there. I can go deeper and see how it's ended. So I jump to the end of the conversation and I see that. And here I provided some feedback to an agent about that. So the agent actually did a great job on controlling emotions on the client that is constantly, let's say, triggered by something, by the procedures of the bank. And here is the last thing, that client wanted to file a complaint. And actually, I can create such trigger as well. And if I go to analytics and tags, and I can create a new tag called complaint. So I want, sorry for that. I want all the calls with a complaint to be monitored automatically. Complaint or something. So you can just add a couple of samples for that. So I see that there will be another tag, and it means that I can filter out all the calls that will contain a complaint. How I do that? Actually, from this moment, every new call that comes into the system will be already monitored and marked. But if I want to see how many of such conversations already happened, I just can clear the filter, go and say retag filtered sessions. When I do this, the system creates the schedule to retagging it. It will depend on how many of such conversations already in the system. So the bigger is the database, the more time it will take. But anyways, it already starts processing, and we'll check a little bit later how it works. I really don't know how fast it will be. So actually, these advanced filtering allow me to search on different topics on different tags. The tags can be from agent channel as well. So what my agents talk about in the conversations, do they use some nasty words? I want to know that. And I want to know this on all the conversations. So that's just a work with the conversation. And if I'm a reviewer or supervisor, I can go to a mode of grading the conversation. And sometimes it is possible that the conversation will be pre-graded with AI itself. And I just need to go through those ungraded points and look through the conversation and just mark it. Oh, sorry. And just mark those. I don't do this clearly like for purpose. That's just for a demo. And when everything is marked, then I can submit scores. And where I see those scores. Let's imagine that I want to check the group of customer support, which is the only group that have calls for me today. And I want to see the metrics like duration distribution of the calls for longevity, how many calls, and then all my agents, number of calls, their duration. So these are quite common for a lot of performance management systems. But also what I can see is the score of every agent based on different parts of the scorecard. And it can be adjustable. I can have as many scorecards as I wish for as many teams as I need. And my agent has already the score for all of them. So I know that if Nikola Tesla is lacking sales skills, then I want to help with that exactly. And I don't have to do a lot of manual work to check that. How do I help? So during the review of the conversations, I might spot top performers, or I know from dashboard that, let's see who is here. Like I have, yeah, Stephen Hawking is a top performer in everything. In starting conversation, obtaining information from client, resolutions of case, sales, everything. So I can go to conversations of my only agent who I need to check. Yep. So I can select agent. Where's my Stephen Hawking? Here you are. Okay. So that's all the Stephen's conversations. And let's imagine that I do some review on him and I see the best, just the best sales pitch. I will not search for that, but just imagining that we have it here somewhere. And I want to pin it to a playlist. Now that's already pinned to some playlists, but I want to create a new pin. And this playlist will be on sales. Okay, for the demo doesn't work. Well, relationship building. And then I want to select exactly part of the conversation that I like about the sale. So I clear all the selection. I find where Stephen made his great job. And this part of the conversation, I want to save as a selection for the best practice. So when I create this pin, I have a list of playlists, and these playlists can be assigned for different specialists in a call center to learn from, to self-learn. So I'm, as an agent, will be able I'm sharing it again, sorry. Now is the presentation. Please confirm that the presentation is also right now visible. Okay, thank you. So I'm as a specialist in the call center, when prescribed with these best practices, can learn on a daily basis from the best practices of my top peers, listening and reading only parts of that, and mimicking the best practices, learning vocabulary, maybe attitude, emotions, whatever. And it is actually a study about how adults learn these soft skills. It's not from books, it's not from reading, it's from hearing and seeing other members of the society and learning from them these soft skills. So that was a short demo just to give you an overview. And let's move forward about AI limits. So you saw that you can have dialogue, you can search through it, you can have all the tags, analytics, performance metrics, scorecards already in the place that can be pre-scored with AI. But what's the limit? Where is this border where you cannot handle work to AI? First of all, that's something that we cannot actually define as a specific criteria. For example, specialists, the conversation. These are real examples of requests or, let's say, desires people thought that they can do with AI. Who can say where is this grade of leading or not leading the conversation? Every supervisor in the call center can make a different decision on the same conversation, saying, was this a leading or not leading? Yes, we can say that there are some very strict conversations where you can definitely say, and everybody will agree, that specialist leads the conversation. But it means that if we will AI let grade in this area, it will make a lot of mistakes. So it will only grade those that are true, absolutely, with everybody agreed, this type of conversations or the other, but people may feel, let's say, unjustified with such measurement. So we would not offer or not want to let AI do those judgments that even human beings cannot do, cannot agree on. Then you can read those. I will not make a lot of details on that, but also then improve performance automatically. So sometimes there is interesting attitude towards AI that if it's implemented, it's so smart that it can do anything without changing processes, without training additional people, without anything, just AI itself will do something. No, it cannot. It really requires a lot of attention also, and sometimes some changes should follow as well. Then detect client hidden intention. That's my favorite. There is talk about like emotion recognition in AI. The best systems at the moment, the state-of-the-art models can do the emotion recognition with 60% accuracy or something like that. So just imagine 40% are misunderstood with AI on human emotions. It means that if this hidden intention was somehow related to current emotions of a person, he was curious, or the emotion was distant or something like that, then it means that the system can say like 60% correct and 40% false. I would not actually believe such system or rely on such system in the call center to make any changes. That's too low accuracy. Analyze yeah, read human mind. Of course, it cannot, and probably will never learn to do that. Or I would not like AI to read my mind. Let's go to cases, the real cases of companies who implemented such AI in human-to-human communication analysis. And the first case is about first call resolution. That was for a wireless service provider, really big company. It's not cases from like us or the system that I showed you. That's just the market open cases. 50% of repeat callers in 2 weeks were coming to increase in the company and growing. So what they done? And I actually, as a researcher, can confirm it is possible. First of all, fast analysis of similarities of those conversations that increased that came recently with increased repeating callers. Time, location, where the person was calling from, in what time frame or time period, call duration. So to find similarity in those. Then the second part, and it can be done without AI if the system in place, like standard call center solution that can be done with CRM system. Then the next one, content analysis with AI. What were the topics of the conversations, common keywords used in those conversations, and customer journey. So customer journey means that customer mentions one by one steps that they already went through and why they call again. And then the problem was, it was a broken process. And maybe you read already, but for everybody who doesn't read my slides. So after business hours, the calls were routed to a separate service provider for customer care. And there, this company, as a third party, didn't have access to all the functionalities of the system that the main call center had. So customers that were calling, they didn't know that they call a different call center, actually. They thought that they still call this 24-hour support. And they were really dissatisfied with the quality of service because people just were saying, specialists, I cannot do this at the moment. I have no access to the system. And clients couldn't understand why this is happening. So when this problem was cleared up, and actually it sounds so dumb, like who created this process allowing everybody to call with all the questions to the call center that doesn't have access to the system? But it happens, it really happens, because people are still people and we all make mistakes. And the person who created this support line overnight didn't actually probably thought that so complex questions will be during night shifts. And then the problem was fixed in 2 days. They just trained many of the agents from that external party, signed contract for access, like NDA or something, and then fixed it in 2 days. And that's just amazing case. And FCR is back to normal, everybody happy, customers are satisfied with that. The next case is about average handling time. That's large logistic company in Europe, and contact center struggled with AHT for a long time with average about 20%. So what they done is, first, topic classification with AI. 14% of overall calls were on invoice explanation. That's the classification that was done by AI, not by human specialists who put this mark or select from a drop-down list in the CRM system, and 11 for debit. So this classification is done in no time because AI, during the processing of the conversations with the delay like 5 to 10 minutes, classifies it already. So all the conversations in the system already classified and divided by topics. Then second, silence duration. That's interesting that when the systems, current systems in call centers, they are able to calculate hold time. So it means that there is a function or a button or something that the specialist should put, and then the system knows the client is on hold. But from our practice and analysis of conversations in call centers, a lot of agents or specialists in many cases, they don't put a client on hold, and they just ask, wait for a minute or wait for some time. And then there is a silence period on the client side and agent side. Nobody is on hold, and the system or call center system doesn't know that the client is waiting. But AI can calculate these pauses, and it actually can say which conversations have pause longer than something. So the normal conversation between words, we have some spaces and phrases, but if the client is waiting, then that's a prolonged time. Then what actions of specialists accommodated this waiting time? It also can be done with the specialists, not with AI, because that's a separate system. So AI can analyze conversation, but it cannot at the same time, the same system, analyze the actions that specialists take in the call center. So these are done by a human being. But when analyst or supervisor or somebody else get just very clearly selected list of conversations with the part of a pause for a long time, and they are directed to that exact place, and with the text, they can quite fast understand what's going on there. Then the cause was that specialists were not trained well for some specific complex process, and it was then analyzed by a supervisor just in 2 hours to see that it really the case. They made additional training and changed the process a little bit. It took them some time, like weeks or even a month, but they decreased AHT, and for such a huge company, it was a good bonus in annual spending saved. Let's go to the self-service performance. If you have any questions, you can put it in QA section or chat, whatever you prefer, and I will see it and answer on cases as well. So self-service performance, that's for financial company, the financial services company that provides loans to individuals. So their target was to increase conversion to loans from website without contact center involvement. And it's interesting that still analysis was on the contact center side. Why is that? Because if customer cannot do something during the visiting website or within app or other means of self-service, they still call center. And they start conversation usually with something like, I was trying to do something at your website, or I was doing this in your app and I couldn't do that and that. So such conversations can be really analyzed almost in real time. So if the client called and the conversation was 5 minutes long, then in the next 5 minutes, it's already will be in the system tagged with specific words or tags, and even can trigger a notification to a responsible person with the link to that conversation, that this conversation is about this. So first of all, they analyzed or selected with AI all the conversations where it was like tried on the internet, in the app, I couldn't do that, and all of them. Then they shared parts of transcripts and audio with the self-service product team. Only parts where the client explained in details what they were doing, why it didn't work out, and what they wanted. And then the user experience team and interface team worked on changing the customer journey and process to more straightforward, self-explanatory. They worked on this for 1 month, and they got the conversion that overperformed the target. So that's a real case of collaboration, and I like this because such cases show that call center is not just a supportive tool for the business. It's a point of communication that can fast provide necessary and vital information to other departments in the corporates. And then we go to probably the last case, that's case 2 in 1. Cross-sell upsell boost for a large bank in Europe. So their target was improving sales to service ratio. From those who are not from the banking environment, I will explain this. So in banking call centers, they have 3 types of conversations usually, and they are divided in different groups. In general, they can be more detailed, but that's a customer care, sales, and debt collection. And in customer care, they also have possibility to sell or upsell or cross-sell or offer additional service or product. So when customer calls in to know, to get information on their balance or something else, then the call center specialist is expected by the company to offer additional service when it is appropriate. So what this company wants to do is to convert contact center into profit center with creating universal bankers. So universal bankers in their understanding is that customer care specialist is as able as sales specialists. And they calculated the percentage of calls where bankers, that's how they call call center specialists, offered additional product service on a support call. And this was done by AI with no additional time. I know that you probably also have this experience that all these specialists have to mark if they were offering something, or if the deal was closed, then it can be tracked with the CRM. But actually, nobody knows exactly how many times specialists offer and what's the conversion rate, because marked by agents is not 100% true. Then compile the list of best calls by sales top performers. That's approximately something that I showed you in a demo, that we select top performers, we look at their conversations, we mark best parts, and very easily select those best practices and prescribe people just to start listening and reading those best performing calls. Then all the bankers got access to this self-coaching, that's what I mentioned, for 7 minutes daily. So those parts of the conversations in the playlist were like just for 7 minutes, one by one, listening and reading. And people were doing this on a daily basis. So they tracked how many people and how long actually listened to those. And they got, here I just forgot to say that in 3 months, they got plus 15% of average increase in sales per banker. And I love this because it shows that the conversion and training is not necessarily to be done through those. Let's put data to a training center, and training center should create some overall training for all the agents in the call center, how they should sell. But people can learn on their own in their spare time, okay, working time, business time, for 7 minutes a day. And then they also got not something like a training from a coach, with some examples, but on a daily basis, very fresh from their top peers, same situations, hearing also clients in those conversations, not only what you should tell. And they get this improvement, and I'm sure they were really satisfied with their own results. That boosts employee satisfaction as well. And this is probably the best application of AI I could imagine. So just to sum up, what's AI is capable to help with? First call resolution, average handling time, self-service, cross-sell, upsell, and training. And what to do now after I told you all these possibilities, made a feeling of what the system could look like. Think of just one process or a metric with a great business impact. Hard for manual analysis that, like, if you even want to do this, it's not possible to do with manual listening and checking the conversations. That's probably a possible candidate for AI analysis. And just imagine what will happen if you improve that one process or a metric. That's not a question to answer. That's just for yourself. And if you wish, just contact us. We still do a lot of interviews for our next event where we want to disclose more of cases, more thoughts and ideas about implementation AI in contact center. You can write directly to my email or pin me on LinkedIn, and I will be really happy to jump on a call and discuss what you have in mind. Thank you very much for today's session with me. The recording will be provided for everybody who registered for the event. Just in a couple of hours, you will receive email. And happy to see you next on the next event in end of June. Have a great evening. Bye.